This is Becki Young from Grossman, Young and Hammond. Today is Wednesday, March 25th. Today I'd like to talk about return transportation obligations for non-immigrant workers. There are a number of visa categories in which employers are required to pay the reasonable cost of return transportation home if they terminate an employee prior to the authorized period of stay. The first two categories are H1B for professional workers and H2B for temporary workers. And those categories, the regulations state that the employer is required to pay the cost of return transportation if they terminate the employee prior to the period of authorized stay, and the return transportation is to the country of last residence. The regs specifically say that if the employer voluntarily quits, that these provisions do not apply, and they also contain a complaint procedure. They indicate that if the employee feels they have not received this reimbursement or offer of reimbursement, that they can make a complaint to the USCIS Service Center that approved the petition. The second category of non-immigrant visas to which this applies are the O for extraordinary ability workers and the P, which is for athletes, artists, and entertainers. So in those categories, there's a little bit of a difference because while O's and P's can be petitioned by an employer, so for example, we have some clients who are chefs who've been petitioned by restaurants, they also could be petitioned by an agent. So in the event that there is an agent and an employer involved, the agent and the employer are joint and severally liable for the return transportation obligation, meaning each party has its independent obligation to pay for the return transportation. There's no mention of a complaint procedure in the O and P regulations, but I think that we can safely assume that individuals in O and P status also would have the opportunity to write to the service center if they felt that this obligation was not met. And the last category to which this return transportation applies is CW1, which is for workers from the Northern Mariana Islands. That's not a category that we see too often. So in our practice, we do counsel employers regularly about the return transportation obligation. Normally, we advise the employer to put in writing an offer to reimburse the cost of a one-way coach class airfare to the employee's place of last residence. And if the employee chooses to stay in the United States, the employer is not obligated to keep this offer open indefinitely. The employer can put a time frame on it, for example, within the next 2 weeks. If you purchase a one-way coach class ticket to your home country, we will reimburse the costs. So that's the recommended way that we advise employers to deal with this return transportation obligation.